good morning, everybody. Welcome into First Take. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. Look who's in the house, Skip Bayless. Stephen A., our man in the flesh. Gentlemen.
How y'all doing? How y'all doing?
I'm good. You guys have a good weekend?
How are you?
Good to see you.
I forgot what you look like.
Hey, listen.
In person, anyway.
I don't know what to tell y'all.
You know, I was feeling bad last week because we're doing this new tease with Mike and Mike, and sometimes Molly's over there, sometimes she sits here, but it's just not fair to you because you got cut out of it because you were remote. And you know what?
Needs more
you're not on TV enough.
I know. You
this
need
was
to be on
huge
every
for
show.
you. The exposure.
Well, what I would say to y'all is be careful, because if I was here every day, that would mean I would get off at 12 noon, like most of y'all do.
Oh.
See, I work into the night.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
And see, I say, I'm available, and they say,
please.
Stop it.
Stop it.
You know you're lying now.
That's a lie.
You're lying now.
That's anyone would take Skip Bayless. He's very selective.
Very much so.
Next
we'll leave
question.
it at that. Yeah.
All right,
Yes.
let's work, gentlemen. Pleasure to see you as always. And we start with in the association. Playing shorthanded with Kyrie Irving battling the flu, the Cavs blew out the Thunder 115-92. Kevin Love led the way with 29 points and 11 rebounds, while LeBron played the role of point guard, finishing the game with 25 points and 11 assists. Stephen A., what does this win say about the Cleveland Cavaliers?
Well, what it says to me about the Cleveland Cavaliers is that their offense is becoming more and more efficient. In the second and third quarters, they outscored Oklahoma City 68-45. They routed the Oklahoma City Thunder. Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook, regardless of their decent numbers, were really non-factors in it all. And when you look at Cleveland right now, coming into the game without Mo Williams, without Amon Shumpert, and then Kyrie Irving being limited because he ended up being ill. LeBron playing the point, which is something you, Skip, religiously point to when you highlight how when he's doing that, he's at his best, and the Cleveland Cavaliers are at their best. But I got to give a lot of credit to Tyronn Lue. They're 10-3 now. Today marked a month that he's been on the job as head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're 10-3 in that span. They've won both games since the All-Star break. They're pushing the ball up better, more efficiently. They're spreading the floor. They're sharing the basketball. They're trusting one another. And I don't know whether it's going to be good enough to beat one of those teams out west, presumably the Golden State Warriors. Nevertheless, there is no question that they look better now than they did under David Blatt. No knock to him, but he played inside out instead of outside in. He wanted to slow the ball down a little bit. They didn't run nearly as much as they're doing so now. They didn't move the ball as crisply and as effectively, and obviously it made them a bit more predictable. Now what you're seeing is Kevin Love really excelling under the tutelage of Tyronn Lue as the head coach. LeBron, obviously the versatility that he brings to the table goes unquestioned. But then when you look at the fact that Tristan Thompson, he also had a double-double. They all had double-doubles. LeBron with 25 and 11. Kevin Love, what was it, 29 and 11. And then you got to Tristan Thompson with 14 and 14. And I just look at that along with Richard Jefferson's 15 off the bench. I'm looking at Mozgov, his 11 off the bench. You're talking about a guy, and J.R. Smith had 15 points as well. I think what I'm noticing is that you're seeing on a night-in, night-out basis, the predictable culprits, are not that predictable any longer. There are other guys that are stepping up, and that definitely has to be given credit to Tyronn Lue, because again, when you play the kind of basketball that he wanted implemented, then more people excel because of it. So you're not a 1 or 2 or dare I say even a 3-man wrecking crew on a night-in, night-out basis. You don't know who's going to join the fray and hit you from Cleveland, and that's exactly the kind of atmosphere they wanted to create.
I hear you. I'm going to go one more step. To me, yesterday's final score was the most stunning final score of the entire NBA season. I'm going to say it again. Cavs 115, Thunder 92 at Oklahoma City in a big marquee national TV game for both teams. 115-92, and I'm going to say it again, what you started off with. No Kyrie, no Shumpert, no Mo Williams. And you did that to them? You are kidding me. And listen, I had flashbacks to last year's finals, and I'm going to say this again. You're right. This is my number one point. I love this team when LeBron James is running the show. I do not love this team when Kyrie Irving is playing point guard. and running the point. Yesterday was a beautiful thing to watch because LeBron James mentally took this game over. I thought at halftime, LeBron, who had 18, I thought he could go for 40 because he was getting whatever he wanted. And I was wrong because his basketball IQ was way above mine going into the second half. He is going to control the tempo, control the pace, and he is going to exploit every little weakness of Oklahoma City's multi-weakness defense. It has holes all through it, and LeBron started finding those holes in the third quarter and picked them to pieces. So I'm going to say this again. What yesterday showed me, it was reminiscent of the finals last year when this team, without Kyrie and without obviously Kevin Love, was up 2-1 on Golden State with Game 4 in LeBron's house in Cleveland.
Right.
That's how good this team can be with LeBron running the show. And in this case, I'm going to say this again. We did this question on Friday. LeBron James, if this team gets healthy come playoff time, it absolutely will give him enough help to dethrone the Golden State Warriors. That's what it showed me. This is a really good basketball team. And Kevin Love, who didn't have to play third wheel yesterday, was highly impressive because, remember, there was no spot-up shooting yesterday. He was 0 for 4 from 3, and he scored 29 points. Oh, that Kevin Love. So we got a little more Minnesota Kevin Love yesterday, right? 29 and 11. And he and Tristan just played harder than the Thunder did because they just out-scrapped them, out-fought them. Everything was more energy than I saw from Oklahoma City. And I'm not the biggest Kevin Love guy, but that was as impressive a game as he has played as a Cleveland Cavalier. And Tristan Thompson always gives you 1,000% of who he is, right, which is 14 and 14, and it's all offensive rebounds and gut plays. And both of them sucked it up and played harder than Ibaka or Enes Kanter or Adams or anybody else inside. And with LeBron sort of controlling the tempo and the flow from the point, this team was highly impressive yesterday, and it is fully capable of beating the Golden State Warriors.
A couple of things that I need to point out. I disagree with you that this is the most surprising outcome of the NBA season. The surprising outcome was January 18th when I was in Cleveland, Ohio. After Cleveland had lost on Christmas Day at Golden State comes to their house, the house in which they beat the Cleveland Cavaliers last year in the NBA Finals, where Steph Curry, before arriving, said that, you know, you can still smell the champagne and all of this other stuff, and they were up by 43.
Okay, but haven't we seen that? We've seen them do that to everybody.
Well, I'm just saying, when you talk about the most shocking outcome, I'm not talking about a loss. I'm talking about the fact that Golden State was up 43 and won by 34. That, to me, was
If I
shocking.
told you going into yesterday that shorthanded, that Cleveland would win by 23 points? Are you kidding me at Oklahoma City?
Well, I can answer that, but we're going to get to Oklahoma City in just a little while. But I guess what I'm saying to you is that, let me just say that was the most shocking outcome, Golden State knocking off Cleveland the way they did in Cleveland. The other thing I'd like to point to, Kevin Durant, second quarter, they get outscored 35-25. Kevin Durant, 2 of 4 from the field. Third quarter, they get outscored 33-20. Kevin Durant, 3 of 8 from the field. You're going to need more. You got to remember, one of the things that's pointed out is that LeBron is his kryptonite. People have actually joked that's why he doesn't want to be in the Eastern Conference. So I'm not saying there's any truth to that, obviously, because Kevin Durant's a superstar and a scoring machine. But these are the kind of things that have been said. In the end, what it comes down to is this. When we look at Cleveland, what we have to sit here and ask ourselves is what your closing argument was. How impressive are they to the point where you could see the potential of a different outcome if they were to meet the Golden State Warriors again in the finals? The way that they're playing right now, I would say to you, it could get interesting.
It could.
I can't rule that out. This foregone conclusion, the Golden State Warriors are just going to waltz to another NBA crown. Cleveland could end up potentially having something to say about that if they catch their groove, and the brand of basketball we're seeing them play is something that they can continue to do. Because the bottom line is but then again, Oklahoma City, and we'll get into them, they're not the Golden State Warriors. Nope. And I'll leave it at that before we get to the second point.
Okay, but what I love was what LeBron did to Golden State last year. Remember, he had the ball in his hands like 3/4 of the game, it seemed like, for Cleveland.
Yep.
But he kept the tempo down. And I'm going to remind you, and we'll get to them later, Golden State. They gave up 137 at Portland on Friday night. Now, I know that's because Damian Lillard was out of his mind, but still, you can't tell me that Golden State is a great defensive basketball team, because they are not. They are a great offensive basketball team. I've never seen a better one in my time. But when you have some weaknesses on defense that can be exploited, there's nobody who can exploit them better than the best passer in pro basketball. You can give me anybody. I will give you LeBron James as the best passer. Even now, today, in pro basketball, there's nobody better. And yesterday he made 2 or 3 passes where I just said, that's too good. Like, that's Steph Curry kind of stuff passing the basketball for LeBron.
Fair enough.
So again, can LeBron get you 25 or 30? Sure, he can.
Well,
yeah.
See, you and I have different questions because, see, I don't have any questions about LeBron. I can rely upon what he's going to bring, the good and the bad, and the inconsistent, because I know that one game he's going to shoot better than 90% from the free throw line, and the next game it might be in the low 70s. You see what I'm saying? So I get that part, but I can rely upon what LeBron is going to give me numbers-wise. What I'm waiting to rely upon is Kyrie going to be healthy? What is Kevin Love going to do when a Draymond Green type, a Kawhi Leonard type, gets all up in him?
Fair question.
What's going to happen then? J.R. Smith, is he going to be consistent, a model of consistency? Is he going to keep his head on straight? Is he not going to make stupid errors and get himself ejected from a playoff game or 2 because he wants to elbow somebody in the face or do something like that? What's he going to do? Is Amon Shumpert going to be ready? What role is Mo Williams going to play? Because with Tyronn Lue there, you've got Kyrie, you've got Mo, and you've got Dellavedova. And sometimes they're not one-dimensional, but Kyrie is all-purpose offense. Mo Williams is a scorer, and Matthew Dellavedova is a defensive player, but he's a reliability. He's a liability, rather, on offense. And so because of it, what is he going to be able to give you? These kind of question marks are the kind of things that make you say, okay, let me watch Cleveland, let me see how things unfold, but we don't definitively know, because LeBron James and, to a lesser degree, Tristan Thompson are the only people that we can rely upon. I can rely upon Tristan Thompson to rebound and defend. I can rely upon LeBron to be LeBron. I don't know what anyone else is going to give me for Cleveland. And the problem is, you can pretty much pencil in, when Golden State is focused, you can pretty much pencil in what they're going to bring. And that's where it gets a bit complicated.
Okay, you brought up Delly. I got to give him one quick shout out here, because you've been hard on him. You've scoffed at him before. He did a pretty good job on Westbrook yesterday, even as an irritant. He will irritate you.
I have never said anything about Dellavedova defensively.
He held Westbrook to 20, and you say held him to 20, but we all know Westbrook can go off for 40 on any given night.
Yeah, but I've never said anything negative about Dellavedova defensively. What I said was, when you got out of hand, talking about a Steph stopping, feeding to the crowd and joking around and all, that's when I checked you.
For those first 2 games?
I know that, but
and maybe 2 games and 3 quarters?
It was 2 games. It was, you can say 2 games and 3 quarters. All I was trying to say to you is, you're getting a little bit too happy. And you're running your mouth, and you're going to wake up Steph Curry, and you're going to pay the price. And that's what you ended up doing.
Okay, can anybody deal with Steph? Can anybody? I've never seen anybody except Delly. Delly was bothering him for 2 games and 3 quarters. I don't care what you say.
The fact of the matter is that all I said to you, which was during last year's NBA Finals, is that, Skip Bayless, watch your mouth. Because this is Steph Curry you're talking about here. And you kept running your mouth, and then Steph made you pay. Okay? So that's what happened. I just said pump the brakes on Dellavedova. That's all I said.
I picked Golden State, but that's a whole nother issue, right? Okay.
Okay. I'm good with that.